Yeah, so as a researcher, I'm really just, I guess, a cog in a big wheel. But in coming in and doing what we're doing, it's incredibly exciting. At any one point, I know something that has never been known in the history of humankind, and we hope to use that new information, obviously, all the time to improve the care for these really fragile, vulnerable infants and hopefully make a difference to their life expectancy, to the quality of their life long after they live in the intensive care unit. And that's something I'm incredibly passionate about. It's what really drives us to do more. I could think now of no more rewarding job than what we currently do, which is the research on the premature infants. And by doing the NUAcT fellowship, it's given me a long-term contract, the longest contract I've ever had, so 5 years, where I can really dive into some of this research and begin to answer quite difficult questions, really complex puzzles. But in this time frame, I think it's feasible that we're going to make a real difference in the way that we perceive disease, and hopefully then take that forward into the way that we manage and ultimately prevent that disease.
The benefit to us of having people like Chris is that it allows us to build relationships over a reasonable length of time. It allows us to build understanding of our specific problem. It's allowed us to share samples very easily and very quickly, which has been really important for the enteroid work that Chris has been doing. So we've definitely seen cross-fertilisation, I would say, both of the clinicians to the scientists and the scientists to the clinicians. So both parties have been able to learn crucially from each other, and that has allowed us to move forward our understanding of the problems that these babies experience.
So the NUAcT fellowship has been designed with this particular individual in mind that is about to transition towards their independence. And so the scheme has been really developed to facilitate that. That is providing consumable salary and students to maximise the individual's chances of being successful. But then you're not left alone to do this. We talk about independence, but there's definitely more of a nurturing towards this. So you're giving mentors, you're giving training workshops that are dedicated to where you will be at your career stage. And so there's other schemes, there's other 5-year fellowships, but I feel like the way this one has been developed, it's really focused on the PI and developing the PI, and it gives us the best platform, I think, possible for us to go on to be successful. I wasn't just going to be thrown into the deep end and expected to come up with funding, and equally it wasn't that I had to make my research fit a given mold. It was really about bringing in me, because Newcastle felt I was the right person to develop my research, because they believed in what I was trying to do. Yeah, I guess Newcastle University has a global reputation. It's one of the original oldest universities in the UK. It's part of the Russell Group for our research intensivity. And we continue to generate really great output. So I can speak on behalf of the Faculty of Medical Sciences, but it's really fantastic as I walk down the corridor and walking alongside people who published some of the leading papers over the last 5 to 10 years and are real pioneers in their field. And so it's such an inspirational environment to be part of, and somewhere that I really hope to develop my own career. So the city itself is full of energy. The people here are fantastic. The cost of living is really quite affordable. And so there's so many positives I see about living up north, particularly Newcastle. It's situated within 10 minutes of the beach and 10 minutes of the countryside. So I feel like you're in really the perfect environment to do all sorts of different activities that you may be interested in. More recently now, I play a lot of golf. I play golf most weeks now. It's a great way to get away from science, to challenge myself, to get out into the outdoors, which I think is always really good for your, again, mental health. And I also do a lot of rock climbing, so this is much more physical, and it's again a great distraction from work. When I'm at the climbing wall, I'm really not thinking about all of the things that I'm thinking about during my working hours, but really trying to distract the mind and focus on getting a good workout as well. One of the things I always find quite fascinating about Newcastle, and having grown up here in this region, I can certainly speak from my own experience, is that a lot of people will leave the city to go on to enhance their CV, move down south, maybe to London, maybe move abroad as I did, to America and other places. But these individuals always tend to come back to Newcastle, and I think that speaks volumes for the city. There's a big pull here, and I think people who have been, even if they're not from the region but move here, will very rarely go back to necessarily where they're from, because they just love this area so much because of all it has to offer,